Welcome to day two of the Metals Investors Forum here in Vancouver. My name is Brian Leni. I'm the editor of Junior Stock Review Premium. And today with me, I have one of my presenting companies, Targa Exploration, CEO Cameron Tymstra is here to talk to us. Cameron, can you start with an overview of the company, how it started and what your focus is now?
Yeah, so Targa was incubated out of the Inventa Capital Group here in Vancouver, originally as a pure play lithium exploration company. We built a portfolio of about 15 properties across Canada, really looking for lithium pegmatites. And what happened in sort of the fall of last year, we did a big regional sampling program at our Opinaca project. We didn't really find lithium there, but we accidentally found a big gold anomaly. So we sort of made the natural transition to be solely focused on gold exploration right now. Fantastic that gold prices are at all-time highs this week. And so really the focus for Targa going forward is the gold discovery potential at Opinaca.
Right. And from my perspective, it's great potential. And that's why I'm a shareholder. Talk to us about when you say regional sampling. Take us through how big the project is, some of those quantitative values, and then what that regional sampling looked like and kind of how you've moved through the process.
Yeah, so when we first picked up Opinaca from Kennerland Minerals, we purchased 100% of that asset. At that time, the size of the project was around 42,000 hectares in size. We've since doubled that land package after finding this first big gold anomaly right smack in the middle of it. But really, much of this area is covered in glacial till. Obviously, back in the ice ages, this whole land was covered in ice. That ice scraped across the bedrock and picked up little bits of the bedrock as it went along and deposited that in what we now have till covering the ground cover there. So it gives us clues as to what's in the bedrock. And so we've been sampling this till material. We did a regional sampling program there where we were taking sample lines roughly every kilometer or so, really just tried to cover as much of the property as possible. Again, originally looking for indicators of lithium like lithium and cesium and tantalum. But what we found were overlapping values for gold, arsenic, antimony, really those key geochemical indicators that you want to see when you're looking for big gold deposits. Right. So we did that regional sampling. We got the results sort of around December or January. And from there, we decided to switch our focus for gold. And we've since gone back to the project, done more infill sampling and moved up ice, really trying to isolate where the head of this anomaly is, which could indicate, proximity to a potential bedrock source there.
Right. And part of in terms of an investor, I have a high level checklist I go through before I invest in exploration companies. And it was the same for Targa. Basically, I look for big, large land packages that haven't been explored, but they're in proximity to other known mineral systems. Mm-hmm. Where is it located in Quebec? Quebec's a great jurisdiction, but where is this in particular located? And maybe give some significance to where, what that means.
Sure. I mean, we're in the James Bay area. So we're kind of in the wheelhouse of the large Corvette pegmatite deposit. If people are familiar with that Patriot Battery Metals owns. We're about 50 kilometers south of the Trans-Tega Highway. And there's also a high voltage power line there. So, we're within arm's reach of high quality infrastructure. Certainly something you want to do if you're going to be developing a mine. So having an all-seasons road and power line there is pretty essential for our future success. But we're in what's called the Opinaca subprovince. It's predominantly a metasedimentary basin with igneous intrusions. We've never explored for anything here before. Nobody has. So the nearest kind of active gold mine would be the Eleanor gold mine that Newmont owns. They produce about 250,000 ounces of gold a year there. And the geological setting in the area is quite similar to what we have. So it's predominantly metasedimentary rocks with igneous intrusions there. A little bit southeast of that is also the Chichu deposit that Sirius owns. Fury Gold is also active exploring for gold in that area. So that's probably the closest analog that we have at this time. Again, we don't know what sort of gold system is underneath the till, but based on the regional geology, that's kind of the closest comparison that we can make right now.
Right. It's a great comparison to make. Eleanor is, I think it's around 5 million ounces at plus 6 grams per ton. An excellent analog to what you guys are looking for. So you did your phase one, you identified these possible trends. You followed up with phase two this summer. What did you do in phase two, and how did that dictate what you did in phase three?
So the anomaly we found last year terminated where we stopped sampling in the up ice direction. So we went in and continued that regional sample spacing up ice to determine where that sort of anomaly stopped. And then we went in and did infill sampling on a much tighter grid spacing to really kind of get the details out there. And what came out of that was a 7-kilometer long east-west trend, and basically down ice from all of the 7-kilometer trend as where we start to see gold appear in the till. And it wasn't just the fine fraction till samples that we're taking. We also take what are called HMC samples, so heavy mineral concentrate. We take about 10 kgs, 10 kilograms of the till material from each sample site. We send it to a lab called ODM in Ottawa. They sieve it down. They put it over a shaking table to make high-density concentrate. And then they analyze that concentrate under the microscope and actually look for individual gold grains. So actually seeing little bits of gold under the microscope as opposed to just getting sort of an assay report back from the lab. And then we can kind of also analyze those gold grains for the shape of them. Are they very rough and pristine on the outside, which would suggest that it's traveled a very short distance from the bedrock source? or is it very rounded, which would suggest it's traveled a bit further. So having these kind of overlapping data sets right now is kind of really pinpointed us to this 7-kilometer trend where we're seeing gold in the till plus arsenic, antimony, and now also seeing gold grains as well. So it's pretty exciting.
Oh, it's excellent. There's a ton of potential, especially in a gold market that looks like it's turning around in their favor. You just are in the midst of completing that phase 3 where you're going to narrow down your focus on where you might drill. Tell us about what might be ahead for the company end of this year and then into 2025.
So this trend that we identified, we really haven't done any prospecting or mapping work there. So that was what we did for phase 3. We just wrapped that up actually a couple of days ago. So we had a big geology team in the field really hammering this area and down ice, looking for bedrock, taking samples of that, and looking for boulders as well, because a lot of areas we don't really have a lot of outcrop. So we took over 300 rock samples from this region. We also did a tighter spacing of the HMC sampling as well. All those samples are on the way to the lab. We do expect results probably late October from that. And really what we want to get out of it is gold in a rock. Right now, we've seen a lot of gold in the till pretty extensively, but we still don't know what sort of gold system is buried there, what the grade of that could potentially be or the extent of it. So we really want to identify some boulders or outcrops that do have gold in them to give us a good indication of what rock unit is hosting the gold, what sort of gold system we're supposed to be looking for out here. And then we can go back and perhaps do a geophysics program that is customized to that sort of deposit type or that sort of rock unit, ideally in advance of a future drill program sometime in 2025.
Excellent. So there you have it. You've got 2 golden till anomalies, one very large 7-kilometer trend, amongst the best, golden till anomalies that I've seen, and we've got more results coming out by the end of the year, and of course, drilling in 2025 in a gold market that looks like it's turning in our favor as shareholders and speculators in this, gold market. Thank you very much, Cameron, for talking with me today, and thank you for watching.